Good morning. So this meeting is being recorded via WebEx to capture all verbal comments made by the public. My name is Rebecca May. I'm Bureau Chief of the Professional Fiduciaries Bureau. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct a public hearing of proposed regulations brought forth by the Professional Fiduciaries Bureau. Today is Thursday, August 3rd, 2023, and the time is 10:01 a.m. This hearing is being conducted in person at the Department of Consumer Affairs, located at 1625 North Market Boulevard, first floor hearing room, Sacramento, California, 95834, and via WebEx. This regulatory proposal was filed with the Office of Administrative Law and has been duly noticed. The notice for the hearing on these proposed regulations was published by the Office of Administrative Law on June 16, 2023, and a supplemental notice providing information regarding WebEx was provided to interested parties by the Bureau on July 14, 2023. Copies of the proposed regulations have been sent to interested parties and have been available on the Bureau's website since June 15, 2023. This proposed regulation amends sections 4428, 4568, 4575, and 4580 of Division 41 of Title 16 of the California Code of Regulations. Specifically, this proposal would increase application, initial license, and licensure renewal fees for individuals seeking licensure as a professional fiduciary and those already licensed. The proposal would also amend the duration of the initial license period to 12 months. If any written comments have been received on this proposal, they will be made part of the permanent record and do not need to be presented verbally at this meeting. The Bureau shall consider all written comments which were received through 5 p.m. yesterday, August 2nd, 2023, or that are submitted by the close of this meeting. If you would like to submit written comments now, you may email them to fiduciary@dca.ca.gov. Since we are having an in-person and WebEx meeting today, I will now ask the moderator to explain how commenters attending via WebEx will present their comments at the hearing.
Good morning. This is the moderator. We are utilizing the WebEx Q&A feature to facilitate public comment. If anyone would like to make a comment, they can look for the question mark icon, typically in the lower right corner of your WebEx screen, or if you're on a mobile device, it may be behind the 3-dot other options. And call-in users can raise their hand by pressing *3. And anyone else may raise their hand by clicking on the hand icon on your WebEx screen. We will attempt to take comments in the order the requests are received, and we ask that people comment one time only, and we will be limiting commenters to 3 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, moderator. Those persons interested in commenting today will be called to comment one at a time. We will begin with individuals who are attending today in person, followed by individuals who are attending via WebEx. Regardless of whether you comment in person or via WebEx, you are not required to identify yourself, but if you would like to do so, please clearly state your name and any organization you represent. Speak loudly enough so that your comment can be heard and recorded. When you comment, please identify the specific portion of the regulation you are addressing. If you have submitted written comments, you may summarize those comments, but please do not repeat them as they were written. It is not necessary to repeat the comment of previous witnesses. It is sufficient to merely indicate that you agree with what the previous witness has said. If you have a question about the proposed regulation, please rephrase your question as a comment. For example, instead of asking what a particular subdivision means, you should state the language is unclear and articulate why. This will give the Bureau an opportunity to address your comments directly when the Bureau makes its final determination as to its response. Please comment only once. Please keep in mind that this is a public forum to receive comments on the proposed regulations from interested parties. It is not intended to be a forum for debate or defense of the regulations. After all witnesses have commented, the comment phase of the hearing will be closed. And finally, in order to allow time for all commenters to be heard, there will be a 3-minute time limit for each commenter. Our WebEx moderator will alert commenters when 30 seconds are remaining, both in person and via WebEx. So now we will begin taking comments from individuals in the audience. I see approximately 5 people attending the meeting in person this morning. Please feel free to come up to the, over here, this one right
Do
here,
you want to move a chair up to here?
wherever you like. Yeah. Yeah.
As long as you're in the.
Yeah.
That seemed very good. Oh, thank you. Chief and members, I'm Jerry Desmond with the Professional Fiduciary Association of California, PFAC, speaking on behalf of the association and its members, many of whom aren't able to join us today, probably because they're working and engaging with the folks that they serve. But I appreciate the chance and the opportunity to provide our comments. We were as the association, a co-sponsor of the Licensure Act, and certainly recognize that the fees have not been increased since 2008. When we do believe that a reasonable fee increase is appropriate and is important to continue the vital services of the Bureau. Our concern is the amount of the fee and the impact it would have. The fee increase for renewal would be increased from $700 to $1,300 a year, which is quite high in terms of the impact on small businesses. Many of the members of PFAC are indeed small sole proprietors, and the impact on them being able to continue as would be detrimental. The fee impact would be detrimental. In terms of the amount of the fee for the new applicants, we believe that the increase will present a barrier to entry and an obstacle to those trying to get into the profession. And we think that the impact will be detrimental to the mutual goal of the Bureau in its mission statement and in the legislative direction that's been given to increase the licensed population. We understand that when the Licensure Act was first enacted into law, the reason that the authority to establish fees in a reasonable amount was established in the statute in Business and Professions Code 6592 was that we didn't know what the licensed population would be. And we all know now that the population isn't the 1,300 that was anticipated. It's about 842. We believe that now would be an appropriate time to therefore align the fee authority for the authority and a procedure for establishing fees to place that into the Business and Professions Code rather than have it established by regulation, and that would conform with the majority of the licensed populations in the Department of Consumer Affairs. Secondly, we believe there's an opportunity to right-size the licensed population to ensure that those that are actually providing services are licensed as required and subject to the Licensure Act. Therefore, we believe there's an opportunity to look at both the qualified and the complete exemptions to the Act for certified
30
public
seconds.
accountants and for enrolled agents to ensure that they are conforming with just what it is allowed and not overlapping with the Fiduciary Act. And then third, we believe there's an opportunity to ensure that there are efficiencies, and the efficiencies could be accomplished by ensuring that if there's a court order or finding or determination of abuse, of a violation of statute, or of a breach of fiduciary duty, that court finding or determination would be
Your time is up.
binding on the Bureau and useful in the enforcement of inappropriate activities. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Would anyone else in the audience like to come up? So seeing no individuals indicating in person at this time that they want to comment, we will now move on to individuals wishing to comment via WebEx. I see there's approximately 10 people attending the meeting via WebEx. When the moderator opens the comment window, please follow her instructions to request to make a comment. Comments will be taken in the order received. Moderator, please open the WebEx comment window for individuals wishing to comment at this time.
Thank you. We do have approximately 23 in attendance at this time. We have opened up the WebEx Q&A feature to facilitate public comment. If you'd like to make a comment, you can either raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon, or you can look for the question mark icon, typically in the lower right of your WebEx screen. Click that, type the word comment into the text box, and click send. Each speaker will have 3 minutes with a 30-second warning, and we ask people not to speak duplicate times. Are there any other requests for comment? I do not see any requests for comment, although I know we do have time for latecomers to speak. Oh, we do have one request from someone logged into WebEx as Pearson Miller. Pearson, I'm going to send you a request to unmute your microphone. You're unmuted. Pearson, we're not hearing your voice.
You hear me now?
Now we do. Yes, thank you.
Great. My name is Pearson Miller. I'm a licensed professional fiduciary in El Cerrito, and I've been licensed approximately 12 years. I'm also the president of the East Bay chapter of PFAC, although I'm not speaking on behalf of PFAC, although I do, second everything that Jerry Desmond had to say. I'm a sole proprietor, so I work on my own. And I feel the increase in fees will have not the intended effect of raising, income for the Bureau, because I think it'll discourage people from entering the profession and discourage people from renewing their licenses. I've mentored new fiduciaries for 6 or 7 years, talking to them about getting their licenses and what the profession is about. And one of their biggest concerns is how to, make a living and start a living as a professional fiduciary. At this point, the fees are high, the liability insurance is very, very high, and the attitude of many courts in California is to cut any fee petition that a fiduciary might present. And when all of that is taken into account, it's very difficult to find individuals who want to take on this career. The career, I think we can all agree, is desperately needed to protect and serve many vulnerable populations in California. The career relieves some of the pressure on the public guardian offices, which helps the taxpayer because there's less money that needs to be spent by public guardians. The final barrier is that, there's a great deal of personal liability by every fiduciary in California. And so if it's going to be difficult to make a living as a professional fiduciary, and, raising fees further discourages people, it's not going to accomplish the Bureau's mission, and the fee increase will actually be detrimental to that mission. So I want to comment that I object to the increase in fees. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next request for comment is from someone logged into WebEx as Mark Olson. Mark, I'm going to send you a request to unmute your microphone, and you'll have 3 minutes. One moment. And I've sent you the request to unmute. You're unmuted.
I am a licensed fiduciary, also a member of PFAC. I don't speak for the organization, but I have been a past president. I think that the cost that you're attributing to the AB 1194 of $705 is probably going to be something that shouldn't be there, mainly because that's mostly what the courts do. And this is going to be like a double jeopardy type thing for fiduciaries. We're going to be, reprimanded by the courts, and then also possibly you're going to have the same investigation based on the court's stuff. So while it states in your different proposal there that the Bureau doesn't create or eliminate business, I would have to differ to that, because when you make a regulation, that does affect whether or not the creation or elimination of businesses occur. And so when you do that, if you raise the bar so high for the getting in and renewing fees, then it is a detriment to creating new fiduciaries and the pool that we're going to be in. And it would encourage elimination of the single proprietor like I am. And you're going to decrease the pool and have to raise rates again. So I ask you just to think more about that 1194, AB 1194, the impact, and if you can, shift it to the courts, because that's where it really should be. And
30 seconds.
that's where I feel like is the big sticking of your increase. And I just wanted to thank you for allowing me to speak today. Bye.
And at this point, I do not see any further requests for comment from anyone attending via WebEx.
This is Helen Joffrey, Bureau Counsel. At this time, I believe that the Bureau is willing and able to accept comments from repeated commenters. If any further comments would like to be made, because at this time we still have sufficient time to continue the conversation. If anyone would like to continue comments or add additional, that has already spoken. Thank you.
And this is the WebEx moderator. We do have instructions on the screen for our WebEx participants. You may either click on the hand icon to raise your hand. You may look for the question mark icon, click that, type the word comment, and click send. And if you are attending in person, you may raise your hand to catch the attention of the committee chief, the bureau chief.
We have somebody coming up to speak. Did you go to that?
Hello, good morning. My name is Heather Fisher. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. I just wanted to briefly say that I agree with the comments made from my and I just wanted to reiterate that I do that another look at, there we go. Another look at the exemptions for CPA enrolled agents are an excellent opportunity to address the concerns with thinning out the pool of applicants. Definitely understand the need to continue to support the Bureau I just would encourage the Bureau not to miss out on the opportunity to ensure that the appropriate licensures are being used for the appropriate work that is being done. Thank you.
And this is the moderator, and we do have a raised hand from someone logged into WebEx as Lori Cochran. Lori, I'm going to send you a request to unmute your microphone, and you'll have 3 minutes. You're unmuted.
Hi, thank you.
Yes, you may go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you for hearing me. I want to agree with everything the other fiduciaries have said here today, but additionally, want to just let you know that, excuse me, I view this sort of as a justice scale, where I look at our professional trade as a necessity for our society. We serve vulnerable populations, and we need more of us. So we have two issues to me. One is if you increase the fees in any kind of a way, that will definitely pare down the number of professionals serving. We already are facing, like was already stated, an insurance increase that's out of this world, making it very difficult to practice as it is. We may be able to get around those issues, but to have our own licensing bureau kind of going against our success is very difficult to swallow. And on the other side of that, I do see the problem of the value of education. If we just opened the door and allowed, a ton of people to be a licensed professional fiduciary, we run the risk of them not really being qualified, and we definitely do not want that. So somehow offsetting the cost of operating the Bureau is something that ought to be tackled first, I believe, rather than having it fall on the shoulders of the necessary professionals. And I thank you for letting me add my 2 bits today. Thank you.
Thank you.
And this is the moderator. I do not see any further requests for comment at this time. Oh, we do have a raised hand from someone logged in as Emma Russell. Emma, I'm going to send you a request to unmute your microphone, and you'll have 3 minutes. You're unmuted.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I'm getting a call. And I too am a licensed member, and I wanted just to be heard as a newly licensed member. I've only been licensed for about a year. And I too am new to the area of Sacramento and have found it very difficult to develop a practice. And so, but I've been paying, I want anywhere from, now it's going up to about 2,000 to 4,000 a year for insurance when I don't have any clients as a fiduciary. So even that is extraordinary hump to get over. And now with the license fees proposed to increase, I don't see me working in this position, in this profession very long, maybe another year or so, though I've been very active in a couple of the PFAC chapters in the Sacramento Placer County area. I was inspired to be a fiduciary because I had worked as a geriatric care manager for about 8 years. And who inspired me was someone I considered to be exemplary in the area of ethics. And so when COVID time came, my husband said, "Why don't you take that course?" So I spent time studying and learning the profession and the ins and outs, passed the exam. But now, like I said, I'm still earning a living as a care manager, but not as a fiduciary yet, because it's just, the hurdles are pretty high. So this increase is not helping. I have to say that I've worked privately with, for my own finances with an enrolled agent who was also exemplary for over a dozen years. And she would be careful to tell me I'm not a fiduciary, and you might want to think about this when we were doing our taxes. And but I think that her office is probably well aware of not paying fees that exist in the realm of fiduciary work. But it's an edge. So I'm instead of
30
increasing,
seconds.
yeah, instead of increasing fees for licensed fiduciaries, maybe do as my previous colleagues have spoken today and have CPAs and enrolled agents be required to pay a fiduciary fee as well. So thank you for your offer today to be present at this meeting. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
And this is the moderator. I do not see any further requests for comment at this time.
Seeing, we will hold the hearing open for another 20 minutes to allow individuals who haven't already made a comment but want to, either in person or via WebEx, to provide that opportunity. The time is now 10:28.
This is the moderator. We do have a request for comment from someone logged into WebEx as James Counts. James, I'll send you a request to unmute your microphone and you'll have 3 minutes. And you are unmuted. You can go ahead.
Wanted to thank several years ago during the sunset review of the Bureau, I made a proposal in a hearing at the legislature to have a requirement for every trust and fiduciary, whatnot, the entity to file with the 541 form or the 1040 if it's an individual or not, to furnish an information on who the fiduciary is. And they charge a $10 fee per report that was filed. And the fee to be paid by the entity and not the fiduciary. And then have it every 3 years. They had to refile the form to establish the status of the fiduciary. And also, if a fiduciary changed or the trust or estate closed or it opened up, at that point in time, the form had to be filed. And in that, at that time, I checked with FTB and I forget the exact number, but it was like over 300,000 541s were filed with FTB per year. So that in effect, if you were charging a fee of $10 every time a report was filed and it's collected through the 541 return and, you know, the fees paid by FTB to the Bureau, then you would increase your funding to the Bureau. And initially you would get, you know, based on over 300,000 returns, $3 million in the initial that it was set up. And then every 3 years they had to refile. And while initially most of them would be in the third year later on, but over time as new ones started and some dropped off, you would start even out every year, you know, potentially getting 100,000 or more notices. And in fact, if you were charging a $10 fee, you would be getting $1 million or so a year. So that would be potentially something, granted, the Bureau can't do on
30
their
seconds.
own, but if you could get with the legislature and get them to process and authorize this fee structure, that would be another means of funding the Bureau without having a major increase in the licensing fees. Thank you very much for letting me talk.
Thank you. We are still holding the meeting open until 10:48.
And we do have a raised hand, again from James Counts. James, I'll send your request to unmute.
Yeah,
You're
this is
unmuted.
James. This is James Counts, CPA again. Another aspect of this is one of the uh, difficulty for the professional fiduciary is, in effect, their net profit. And so their expenses are high. As I mentioned, it would be the fee and, the insurance and so forth. But if there's something that could be done by the professionals going to the legislature and somehow convincing them to authorize the courts to authorize higher fees to fiduciaries, and it would not necessarily have to be a major increase, but somehow raising what fiduciaries may be able to charge the entities, the trusts and the states and so forth, that if they could get higher revenue to themselves, that would offset the difficulty of having to pay higher licensing fees. Thank you very much for allowing me to talk.
Thank you.
Moderator, it appears that we have a comment written in the comment section. Could you please read that?
Thank you very much. We do have a comment from someone logged into WebEx as Molly Maroney. Molly, I'll send you a request to unmute in case you would like to speak that yourself. Although if you have audio issues, I'm happy to read it aloud for you. And I sent Molly a request to unmute, but she has not been able to respond as yet. The comment is, unfortunately, I missed most of the comments. I think the problem is that the current increase came as a shock, an 86% increase of $600. I suggest the increase be split, increase the fee by $300, and add a modest increase annually.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the time is now 10:48. Since we've had a few recent add-ons for comments, we're going to give this another 5 minutes. Thank you.
And this is the moderator. As a reminder, if you are a call-in user in WebEx, you may press *3 to raise your hand, and then I will send you a request to unmute, and you will be able to make your comment. Again, if you are, oh, thank you, call-in user 5. I do see your request. I'm sending you a request to unmute. You can press *6 to unmute.
Hi,
There
my
you
name
are.
is Marilyn. Hi, my name is Marilyn Kriebel, and I'm a professional fiduciary here in California. And I'm calling in because, like many of the other fiduciaries that have spoken up, we are quite concerned about the magnitude of the increase of the professional fiduciary's license fee. We are concerned that this will be a barrier for not only for new fiduciaries to join this field, but for fiduciaries, existing fiduciaries to continue in this field, thereby only exacerbating the issue of this disparity between fees being collected and expenses on the Bureau side. We have encouraged the Bureau as well as legislators to look at alternatives that would include perhaps a more modest fee increase, but also looking at ways to increase the license pool by eliminating certain exemptions, or at least making them clear that that exemption is a very qualified and very narrow exemption. And alternatively, too, we can look at whether or not there are means by which the responsibilities on the side of the Bureau can be limited in some manner that would not curtail their responsibilities to investigate, but would provide them with other tools by which they could spend less time on perhaps investigations. I appreciate your time, and we'll hope that you can consider this fee increase and help us as fiduciaries to be able to grow the profession and not have this ginormous fee increase over our heads. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We'll hold the hearing open for another 5 minutes or so at this point. If there's any additional individuals in the audience via WebEx or here in person that wish to comment, please raise your hand. Thank you. It is now 10:51.
And this is the moderator. I do see a request for comment from Nancy Howland, although she also typed her question. But Nancy, I will send you a request to unmute in case you would like to present your information or your comment in person. And you should see a pop-up on your phone. You're unmuted.
Hi, yes, this is Nancy Howland. I'm a professional fiduciary. I apologize, I also joined the meeting a little late, but I'm wondering if it has been considered to charge others that are acting in the same profession as we are, for example, enrolled agents, CPAs, to also contribute to the Bureau with a licensing fee. And my other question is, has it been considered at all to rule out some of the insignificant complaints that you are put or given the duty to investigate? Is there some kind of a possible filing fee that somebody can pay to file a complaint in order to alleviate some of the less discerning complaints? Appreciate the consideration.
Thank you. It is 10:54 a.m. We're going to hold the hearing open for another 5 minutes at this time.
And this is the DCA moderator. As a reminder, if you are attending in person, you may and wish to make a comment, you may approach the table at the side of the room to make your comment. If you are logged into WebEx and you wish to make a comment, you may raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon. You may also look for the question mark icon, click that, type the word comment into the text box and click send. And if you are a call-in user, you can press *3 to raise your hand. Are there any further comments on the proposed fee issue? I do not see any further requests for comment at this time.
Okay, thank you everyone for providing your comments today. Our last comment ended at approximately 10:54 a.m. It is now 11 a.m. and this hearing is now closed. Thank you.